News coming down on Saturday that maybe we all expected, the Rangers parting ways with head coach Peter Laviolette. And so we're going to break down what this means for the Rangers, what will happen next. We're going to do it with the New York Post beat writer covering the Blue Shirts, Mollie Walker, who joins me now. Mollie, how are you doing?
It's weird being here on a beautiful day in New York and Saturday without playoffs on the horizon, but we're hanging in.
It is weird. It is weird for the Rangers fans to not have any playoff hockey this spring, but we have to talk about another coaching change, Mollie. And today you got to hear from Rangers management. You heard from GM Chris Drury. Do you believe that this was the right time for this team to make a coaching change?
I think they had to, honestly. I think that this is something that we've been expecting since December, if you ask me. I wrote a column recently where I essentially say the Rangers have to leave as much of this horrible season in the past as reasonably possible. It wasn't just your run of the mill bad season. There were so many layers to it, so many moving parts, so many people and aspects of the Rangers game to blame. And if you just don't want to take any of this season moving forward. And unfortunately for Peter Laviolette, that probably sealed his fate a long time ago when this season really got out of hand during that 4-15 stretch. You just can't bring back the coach who oversaw one of the most drastic drop offs from one season to the next in NHL history, regardless if he's the one to blame or not.
Yeah, sometimes, as you just said, you have to leave what's in the past in the past. And I talked with our colleague Larry Brooks about this last week and about responsibility. How much responsibility for this season's disappointment should fall on Laviolette versus roster construction and player performance? Because, like you said, there's a lot of blame to go around, but how much of this does fall on Laviolette?
I don't think Laviolette was the perfect coach by any means. There hardly ever is a perfect coach, but I also don't think he did enough when things were spiraling to pull the team out of it. But I also think he was kind of given a losing hand to begin with. I mean, you can't you can't force players to play for one another. You can't force them to play for the crest on the front of your jersey. You just can't expect that. That's something you can't coach. And there wasn't anything he could do about the offseason drama that poured into the room from the start. So I wouldn't say that a bulk of the blame should fall on Laviolette. I think there are plenty of other places that are more responsible. But again, that didn't matter in this situation. It just didn't matter.
It just ended up not mattering at all. Now, here's the thing, Mollie, because every time there's a coaching change, we're always talking about what type of coach should come in next. So given that the Rangers hired Laviolette to bring in stability and experience, that was the thing at the time when they did hire him. What type of coach do they need now, and what traits should they prioritize in this next hire?
Tough to give an exact mold, especially since they've gone through three vastly different kinds of coaches. I mean, David Quinn was the guy who was said to be able to relate to young players. Gallant was the guy who was said to be hands off and empowering of his players to do what they want. And Laviolette was the details guy who was very work ethic oriented and had a lot of experience. So Chris Drury today said he's just looking for the right fit. And if that's a first time coach, by the way, then he said he's not opposed. So but it is tough to envision this team responding to a first time NHL head coach. But I also am expecting this to be a much different looking team next season. So I do believe that Drury will simply just look for what he believes is the best fit.
Okay, so it's all open. We'll see what Chris Drury does here in terms of the coaching search. But look, when we talk about the coaching search, Mollie, Rangers fans, they have been through a lot of coaching changes in recent years. What's the level of pressure on this next hire for the Rangers to finally get it right here?
I think the pressure has been there. Going back to the David Quinn days, maybe it wasn't a win now initiative back then, obviously, but this is New York. It's the New York Rangers. It's a Stanley Cup drought that is going on over 3 decades. And after what happened this season, I mean, this might be one of the toughest NHL coaching jobs up for grabs right now. I mean, between the mess they're coming off of and the expectations that are still very much present, this isn't going to be a walk in the park for anybody. So whoever it is just going to have to be up for the task.
You know what? You make a fantastic point. The pressure might have always been there, and the pressure is not going away anytime soon here in the Big Apple. That is Mollie Walker covering the Rangers for the New York Post. Mollie, I know you'll be on top of everything in terms of this coaching search, but I want you to go out and enjoy the rest of this beautiful Saturday. Please do that.
Thank you so much, Dexter.
No problem.